I think the spork story was, we should have brought that up. Selling sporks now.
On Galaxy's Edge.
We were talking about it, so I texted Tim. I'm like, hold on to your hats. The sporks are back.
Those were a
The
big
sporks
deal.
are huge.
Everybody was stealing them.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Quick Diz News. I am your host, Tim LeBeau, here with Sarah Castano
Hey, howdy, hey.
and John Castano.
Hello.
We're just going to cover any news stories week to week that we feel are worth mentioning as kind of an extension to the podcast, because we don't really discuss news at all on there anymore, which is a good thing. We actually like the format we have right now. So we figured we would post a podcast, and news only podcast, I should say. So this is our first shot at it, so bear with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also rate us on iTunes or any other podcast platform. That helps a lot. I often forget to say that, but any kind of review and or comments on that are much appreciated. Check out our Facebook page and email us at the backside of water. Hit me up on Twitter at QuickDizTakes, and Sarah as well at Palm Tree Skook. Okay, so I'm going to ask Sarah to read the headlines this week, and then we will discuss accordingly.
Okay, so the first one I have is Disney's Fast Pass signage. Multiple guests in the past week or so have been posting pictures on social media and kind of reporting out the attraction signage for the Fast Pass feature has either been covered up, it's been altered, or it's been completely removed altogether. In looking into it further, the Disney website maintains that the service is just temporarily suspended for the time being as a result of the COVID-19 impact on operations.
So do any of us actually believe that?
I know we kind of touched on it with previous episodes. We're talking about the kind of Disney cheapening out, and I feel like if they're trying to recoup some of the money lost during their closures, that they'll kind of go the way of Universal, where you pay for, I think it's called the Max Pass, and it's a paid service. I don't think that's something that they'll be necessarily just kind of including for free. I think maybe if they return to it, it'll be in some kind of a monetary fashion.
I agree. I think this is just a push to get, like you just said, some type of monetary value on a fast pass. And it makes sense. I don't really have an opinion on it right now. I want to really see, I mean, I've heard good things about the Max Pass. I've never experienced it myself. I want to see how it goes. It sounds like it could be beneficial, maybe. It might not be such a bad thing if it's not too crazy priced. But I think the first thing that comes to all of our minds is Disney's generally crazy price. So I don't know what that means. I know that fast passes seem good when you have one booked, it's great. But when you're trying to get on lines, into lines, in the standby queue, it slows things down. You guys, I think both of you would tell me at one point or another that, I mean, obviously the parks aren't as crowded as they usually are with COVID, but that and the fact that there's no fast passes are speeding up wait times. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, unless maybe we talked about them, they're getting rid of some of the perks of staying on property, unless they make a fast pass as just, a free fast pass. You get maybe 2 free fast passes if you stay on property per day. Maybe something along those lines. But
yeah, I feel like they better do something, because I think I talked about this before. It just seems like they're running out of, they are taking away anything worthwhile as far as staying on property goes, minus if you've never been there before. I guess staying on property would definitely be a plus, but people like us that go often, I would venture to guess wouldn't take much for us to be swayed off property, especially after I've heard many times that it's actually pretty cool staying off property. So I don't know. I guess that all remains to be seen.
Just Max Pass, I believe, was only $10 a day when it first started at Disneyland. And I know it's gone up. I don't know what it was up to before they closed, but it was not. It was either 15 or 20 a day, which isn't an extreme thing because their Max Pass also included Photo Pass. So if they were to do something like that, instead of paying that almost, if you buy it early, it's a little cheaper, but if it's almost $200, if you can save that and get the Max Pass, which is also, it's not just limited to 3 days. It's all based on time. 3 days, passes a day, or 3 passes at a time. It's all just based on, what time you get it. And then you can make another one in a certain amount of time. So if you do play it right and set timers for yourself, people said they can get a real lot done. So I don't know. I think they're just putting stuff over the signs just to maybe either not confuse people into thinking they can still get fast passes, or just maybe it's even to get the fast pass word out of your head so you're not thinking about it, to try to train you to not even think about fast passes anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see him coming back anytime soon, at least.
When they said altered, they didn't say altered how. But I mean, I agree with Johnny. If they're removing it, they're trying to get it, out of sight, out of mind.
Because I know they're using the fast pass line like they do before with the rider swap and like the disability thing. So I know people post online, why are people in the fast pass line if there's no fast passes? So they're just seeing that fast pass and then people in it confuses other people. So if you just shut it down and you only use it as a rider swap or, that disability access thing, it makes more sense, I guess.
All right. What we got for our next headline?
Disney announces their Magic mobile service is one step closer to becoming fully implemented. They did say on their website they're launching the first phase, or that will be launching in phases starting later this year. It basically does all the things that your Magic Band currently does. It's your park reservation, your room key. You can do the charging to your credit card. Any kind of reservations would be on it as well. You would do the same thing you would as your Magic Band. You'd scan it at those access points and it would be able to access, from your digital wallet what is on your account. So they did make it a point to say that it will be rolling out to other smart devices, but it will be going out to Apple products first. So iPhones, Apple Watches. I don't believe it said anything about Android or, anything like that, but it did say Apple one would be coming out first, but with no release date of any kind of specifics for either.
So I'm assuming that's obviously an alternative as of right now, but I wonder if this is like an effort to completely do away with the Magic Bands. But I would say the vast majority of people have smartphones and stuff now, but not all do. And what do you do? So can you put if you went down there with your 2 little ones, say it was just you and your 2 kids and Johnny wasn't there, can you put them on the device?
That was my question too, for minors or people who don't have a smart device. Think about grandparents that go for family trips. They don't necessarily have a smart device. Small kids, they wouldn't, but they could have a Magic Band. There wasn't a whole ton as far as that kind of information. I think once it's implemented and they start that first phase out, we'd get more information that way, or maybe that's where that $5, basic Magic Band comes into play.
Articles did say that you could they're not getting rid of Magic Bands, and it said you can use your phone and your Magic Band interchangeably. So whatever. So
it's kind of like what they've done with the hotel rooms already, where you can use your phone. Yeah. I was using that last time I went.
Yeah. So it seems like, I think they'll always keep the Magic Band, at least for, the near future. It's because, some of them you pay $20-$30 for, and especially if, anything they can use and keep as limited release, people will buy. And some of the designs are pretty cool that they're putting on them now. So
I bought one. I said I never would do it. I did it last time. I was there with you guys.
We still always get them. Even if the free one, we were getting the free ones, we'd get the upgraded ones just because you paid. You felt like you were saving because instead of paying the $30, you're only paying 10 or 15. But
They get you.
Yep.
And those, I was reading an article even before all this came out about the lifespan on magic bands, and kind of talked about the long range and the short range frequencies that emit off of them that they use within the parks to say, park capacity, or how, if you're in the My Disney Experience app, like how quick to get to other rides and all of that. And those long-term waves, sorry if I'm not wording this correctly, it was a while I read this, but those will die out after about a year from production. But the the shorter waves, those will last for 3 to 5 years, and they can always be replaced. So even if you buy a magic band and use it for a few years and it stops working, the short range wavelengths, it's interchangeable, but they're not getting rid of the key cards either. So I'm wondering if the key cards, like those little plastic ones, from when we were younger and we had those, I wonder if those will come into play too as an alternative to people who don't have those devices.
I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly. I think I am, but I remember when I went in the early 2000s, probably the year 2000 actually, the fast pass system was, you would go up to the attraction, it would say what time you would get. If you were to put your room key in, you'd put your room key in, it would print out a fast pass, and then you'd go back. And I think you could only do one at a time, but I feel like that was really efficient. So you made your reservation of a specific ride and you went on another line, and no one could overload on 3 fast passes. They weren't tiering them out to you. So if I went first thing in the morning and got a Space Mountain, that was going to be like a half hour from now. I rode Space Mountain, and then I could do another one. I could go over to another e-ticket and then do that one and do another e-ticket, where as this one seems so convenient with the technology attached to it, you're forced to only pick one on each tier, which is kind of bleh. So I would love to see something where, getting back to the Max Pass and this kind of combined, where you do it on your phone, and maybe it's only when you walk up to it for that one ride at a time, and it keeps things a little more organized. And I hate to say this, but you guys, I think, were with us when we were doing this, but I would kill fast passes on purpose. I'd get my e-ticket go on, and I'd kill 2 real quick if I could. When I say kill, I mean like go to a ride, scan it, get out of there, and then just so I could start going to one at a time. Because when I go to one at a time, I could just keep getting e-tickets, and you can get them if you work them well enough. So
the article seemed that they were just kind of streamlining all of these mobile apps and these mobile platforms that they have, and they're just trying to merge them all into one user-friendly interface instead of having the Magic Band and the app and this and mobile ordering, and just kind of combine everything in one spot. Not
only that, the last thing I'll say is, if you have a Magic Band and a phone, you're more likely to forget your Magic Band. So if you did and you jumped on the Skyliner or halfway to Epcot, you could be like, well, at least I got my phone, get me through the day. I didn't forget my Magic Band, so I'm not completely screwed, I guess.
The only thing is this, do you think this is the early stage, or they're doing away with that Genie app that they had talked about at D23?
Yeah.
Because
this
this could play into both things, because you're using it as your tickets, and then now that they may be doing away with fast passes, and this whole Genie app was supposed to more streamline your day by putting in I like dark rides, and then it would theme your day, tell you the best way to go about your day. I don't know if this is what they're going to do instead of it, because they kind of mentioned that and then they never really said anything else about it.
I've gotten to the point where I'm just going to stop believing things that are said at D23. Some come true, but a lot don't.
Yeah.
And I guess COVID had something to do with some of it, but there have been other years where it wasn't COVID. That theater they got rid of on Main Street, that's a good idea. Like, where did that go? Just weird.
Last one for today is big news. Disneyland parks are officially announcing an opening date. Just like Disneyland, Disney World's reopening plan, Disneyland is scheduled to reopen to the public after over a year of closures. The plan does include reduced capacity, suspended parades and nighttime spectaculars, anything that would draw a big crowd. But they did say they would have cavalcades like Florida does. They will be utilizing the park reservation system that's currently in place in Florida. And at this time, in the first phase of reopening, attendance is restricted to California residents only. Grand California Hotel and Spa is set to reopen on April 29th, again with limited capacity. The DVC villas will reopen a few days later on May 2nd. And then Paradise Pier and Disneyland Hotel are at a to be determined date. But we have some solid dates for once.
So this is one of those things where, like, I think it's kind of about time. I feel like California probably should have let these parks open a little earlier than they did, maybe. Just because I think Disney knows how to do it, and they would do it well and responsibly. It wouldn't be like a bad situation. And I know Disney has been pushing for it for a while. They're able to open their Florida parks pretty much seamlessly. I mean, there really hasn't been any problems, minus people that don't want to wear masks yelling and spitting and cursing at cast members. That's just stupid.
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool that they're going to open these parks back up. And I think by the end of the summer, knock on wood, everything's just going to be cranking again. I mean, probably still masks, but
I think Disney did put out a statement. They'll be wearing masks throughout the remainder of 2021. And depending on, what the numbers look like towards the end of the year, then make a decision about the following
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't gone. You guys have. But I think you kind of get used to the mask, right? And people seem to be okay with it. And they're still able to do most of the things they can do.
Yeah. It would just be nice if you could pull the mask down or take it off for a picture. That's the only. I've seen enough of mask pictures. And especially like this year going with the castle painted in the new thing. You kind of like to have a family picture in front of the castle. But it would be just nice to not have the mask on. Because I know Universal was doing something where if you stood in a spot, you could take the mask off for your picture, but then you put it back on. I hopefully, maybe that's one of the things they can ease. I know they were talking about possibly easing some things over the summer, but whatever.
I mean,
that's just nitpicky.
They've kind of learned some things about this stuff, and I think everyone's pretty much in agreement that it doesn't spread well outside.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying don't take precautions, but I think I'm talking to your point with it seems like that would be an okay thing to do. If you can pull your mask down and eat a burger, then why can't they make some of these, at least some of the ideal picture spots, like in front of the castle and things like that, where just if you're not in the picture, you can't.
Even if they rope it off, yeah.
Yeah, and then
they put a square tape square, a 6-foot square on the ground,
and just I mean, all right, everybody on the count of three. As soon as she counts three, pull the masks off, smile, boom, mask back on, move about your day.
Now, I did see that they did have a new sign. Somebody posted in one of the parks. There was a sign that they posted that says "Keep your masks on for pictures." So whether that be people taking their own pictures, but they're still pushing it, which is it is whatever they want. So
it's park policy, so they can.
Yeah, it's their own private policy, but I mean the CDC saying now it's really supposed to be like 3 feet away with masks is more than safe now. Yeah. So I'm not saying right away, but I wonder if as that information flows in and stays consistent, if that'll impact their decision as the year goes on. And the fact that, let's face it, I know you're getting vaccinated soon, Sarah. I've been vaccinated. Johnny will eventually by the time the summer's over, I would imagine a good amount of people will have that going for them too. So hopefully, but I could see if they went to the end of 2021, why not? Yeah. Really, at this point, you're already in March, almost April. What's one more, 9 months stretch?
It's just nice that they just get the parks open. I think get Disneyland open. That's what everybody. So
yeah.
A mask.
And you feel like it feels more. You start to feel a lot more normal when everything's doing what everything's supposed to be doing. Like Disney's open every day, and life is flowing. When they shut those parks down last year, I remember thinking like, ugh, it just feels weird. It's not even that I can't go to Disney. It's just everything just feels so weird right now. Like Disney's.
We had no plans to go to Disney during the closure, but it was weird knowing you couldn't, and you didn't see people posting pictures going, and you didn't, there was nothing. It was like it just went dark.
Yeah, it was weird. But it's good that California's going to open back up. And I wonder how long it will be until they let people from outside the state go. That'll be the next phase, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't give any dates on those.
Well, they don't rely heavily on that anyway, so I guess for them, not like a huge deal to rush. But I also wonder too, like, so they're not doing annual passes. But I guess some people still have annual passes that haven't run out yet. I don't know. But how many, like, what the crowds will look like.
Well,
If I lived there, I couldn't get an annual pass.
over a year.
Huh?
Yeah, if the parks
Sorry.
have been closed for over a year, there's no way that people still have annual passes that are.
Yeah, but
unless-
weren't they suspended that whole time? Like, didn't they? If you
Yeah,
renewed
but
last,
But then they just canceled everything. I think they already gave it.
Oh yeah, they refunded them. It's right. Yeah.
And then
you're right.
the people who had it, they just called them legacy pass holders, which they get. I mean, they're getting. I don't even know what they're getting. Some kind of something in. I know they're getting like they can get like a magnet that says legacy pass holder, but I don't think it doesn't come with anything to get in the parks. I don't think.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
They refunded everybody.
I forgot about that. So yeah, so that's interesting. How many people are going to want to pony up the money? I guess at first maybe a few because stimulus checks and stuff, but it'll get old quick. If you're a kind of person that, and there, I'm sure there's a bunch of them that are used to going to Disney like 3 days a week, because they live right near it, and now you're paying $110 a whack. I think it's going to be a little bit of a different story. But
I think a lot more. If Universal is doing the same thing they're doing in Florida, where they're keeping their annual passes, I think a lot of people might jump over to. I mean, I'm sure they go to Universal, but a lot more people might be becoming Universal people.
yeah, I've heard the numbers are showing that. We were actually thinking about it. We saw some, and the deals are like crazy.
Yeah.
Go to Universal, like 4 days, four-day passes, family of 3, 5 days, 4-day passes. It's like with hotel is like $1,400.
That's crazy.
Not bad.
It's like cruise ship fees.
Right.
Then it makes you think. So should I, like, next time I go, should I stay at Universal and then go to Disney a couple of days when I feel like it? Because if I do it the other way around, Universal costs me $150 a pop. So 1 day is already costing me $450. So why not pay the, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're still getting, from what I understand, a pretty good hotel experience and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I don't know. We shall see.
The only other thing with Disneyland is that they did say that the revamped Snow White ride is opening with the park too. So everybody get to see that.
And Sarah Patterson and Sarah can get creeped out by the animatronic.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Apparently.
I just had, after that podcast, I had the equivalent of like those creepy porcelain dolls that everybody's so. That's the image I had in my head.
No, it's creepy.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for this week. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. That was our first effort. So I think it went well. Like and subscribe. And once again, hit the rating button down on the bottom there on the Apple Podcast. If you're listening on those type of platforms, we really appreciate the support. And we will see you next week.